This is the story of how God told everybody who he is and what he's all about.
Wait, don't we already know that?
True, yeah, we know that. But there was a time, a long time ago, when people didn't know as much about God as we do today.
When, like 100 years ago?
Nope, even farther back.
1,000 years ago?
Even farther.
1,000,000 gazillion bajillion years?
Okay, not quite that far. Here, I'll just show you. A few thousand years ago, across the world, right about here, there lived a group of people called the Israelites.
Yeah, I've heard of those guys. They were like a big deal in the Bible, right?
They were God's chosen people, set apart for a very special purpose.
Oh man, they sound awesome.
Well, they weren't always doing great, but God still took care of them and called them to be his special, chosen people. When our story picks up, the Israelites had just gone through a big change. They were living as slaves in the land of Egypt for a long time, but God rescued them using a leader named Moses.
Hey, I recognize that name. He parted the Red Sea so they could walk through and escape from Pharaoh.
You got it. So after Moses leads the Israelites out of Egypt, they kind of post up in the wilderness. God will eventually lead them to a super duper awesome place called Promised Land, but they're not quite there yet.
Okay, so let me get this straight. The Israelites are just chilling in the desert, building sandcastles, and getting suntans?
Not quite, my young Padawan. This is where our story really picks up. You see, up to this point, people didn't actually know a whole lot about God. There were special people that God would talk to, but there were lots and lots of people that didn't really know who God was and what he was like and what he loved and what he hated, because God didn't really talk to just everybody back then. He only really talked to a few people.
Oh, it's like a big game of telephone where God would talk to someone, then they would tell everybody else, and they would talk about it like that?
Actually, yeah, that's pretty close to how it would work. And as you can imagine, the message would get a little misunderstood, or it wouldn't go very far. It just wasn't great.
Makes sense. This one time, we were playing telephone at school, and the phrase was, "I like cupcakes." By the end of the line, it turned into, "I have a frog face."
Wow, I'm really sorry that happened to you. But you're right, it was too easy for people to get mixed up about who God is, and that's definitely something you don't want to get mixed up.
So what happened?
Well, first, Moses wanted to know God better and to have more favor with God. He said, "God, I want to know you more. Teach me your ways." And that's exactly what happened.
So God taught him in a classroom? Kind of like mine?
Not quite. This was in the desert, like 3,000 years ago, remember?
Right, my bad. Okay, so what happened?
Something absolutely amazing. A cloud came down from heaven, and the Lord himself appeared in front of Moses. Then the Lord spoke and told Moses exactly who he is and what he's all about. This verse in Exodus chapter 34 says, the Lord, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, maintaining love to thousands, and forgiving wickedness, rebellion, and sin. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished.
Whoa, what did Moses do?
He did just about the only thing he could do. He bowed down and worshiped God. This was so amazing because after God told Moses who he is and how to follow him, Moses was able to teach the Israelites exactly what he heard.
Hey, that's pretty cool. So the whole playing telephone thing, that was over?
Exactly. Now, the Israelites know who God is, straight from the source. The end.